Hey everyone, welcome to the Phoenix Nest, where integrators rise to new heights in business success and profitability. I'm Joshua,
And I'm Pippin.
and this podcast is your guide to building a thriving business in the custom AV industry.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll gain the tools and insights you need to elevate your business and provide exceptional experiences for your clients.
Yeah, and each episode delivers industry experts sharing actionable strategies on topics like pricing for profit, creating recurring revenue, building a high performance team, and staying ahead of the latest trends. And today is no different. We're going to be talking with Luis Rodriguez from Wow Media in Rhode Island. Luis started Wow Media in 2012, and they are a thriving company that's standing out. Welcome, Luis.
Hey, thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
How are you?
Luis, we've heard a little bit about your company. A lot of it, you guys are doing things differently than most other integrators. Tell a little about yourself before we start asking some of these questions.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been in business since 2012. Started as a small shop, just myself and my business partner, Greg Morales. And we had a vision. I think the first year in business, I like to tell the story, is, we made $24,000, you know? And at that point, a lot of people, would give up. We kept with it, and here we are at 2025. And we never thought we would be where we are today.
What would you say the main strategy was for you to, create that success?
I would say the main strategy was he and I had a nice line of delineation of who was doing what, not overlapping. So, for example, I'm in charge of sales, design, and engineering, and Greg's in charge of the back of the house installation and all the implementation of the part of the business. And what we do is we're really good at delivering, our products, representing our products to our end client and explaining to them it's not anybody can buy TV anywhere, but they can't buy it Wow Media, right? And we never discount. We just don't discount. We're not that type of company. We did that from day one.
So,
We don't
Can you say
discount.
that again? You
yeah,
don't
that's a
do
big
what?
one. I mean, not
Yeah, buddy.
discounting. Both Josh and I have been integrators, and it's always you see these people that are making that race to zero. So really, setting that strategy and keeping away from the operations team really helps you be profitable.
Yeah, definitely.
When we talk about you both have that delineation of what you do. How do you go about delegating tasks to your team? I'm sure you all started off in it's just you two. How do you know when to step back and let your team do things versus you or your partner?
Yeah, so I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of integrators. Well, a lot of integrators we meet is type A personalities. If I don't do it, I feel like it's not being done correctly, right? And Greg and I, we had to sit down and kind of say, okay, well, what type of lifestyle do we want? Because that, in order to live a lifestyle where I can do more of the things that I want to do in my free time, I can't have that type of personality. I need to be able to delegate these tasks to my employees and whatnot and project managers. But still overseeing it and representing, showing the employees how it's done correctly in the process. So one of the things we do is we let the frames go and say, hey, go ahead and design this job, create a quote, and I'm not going to see, I don't want to see it until you're done. And then I sit down and look at it and give feedback. So now I'm not overseeing exactly, I'm not micromanaging these employees. It's developing their career, right?
Yeah.
I wish I would have had that or someone would have done that when we started, but we didn't have that, right? We were the sales guys, installers, bookkeeping, marketing. Now we don't do it. I don't even ask me to hang a TV.
That it kind of fits well that you asked that. So one of the things we're gonna talk about later is delegating and finding ways to take the load off of your plate. When you started this business, looking back from then to now, what processes have you implemented to ensure quality control while still being able to delegate those tasks to people?
Yeah, one of the biggest process we did is our line card. A lot of integrators, you ask, oh, what speakers do you sell? And they name off 10 companies. We do two. What type of TVs do you sell? Two different brands. What type of lighting? 3. Our line card is very small. So that way the employees aren't learning a new product or a new process in the field. And that's where a lot of they'll fail, right? So, for example, we do a lot of Neutron. Someone says, hey, do you do Savant? No, we don't. Oh,
So
you're going to lose a job. I don't care if I lose a job. I don't do Savant. I will show you why I believe Neutron's better. Not saying that's the end all be all, but these are why we think we chose that product. And one of the things we do as a team is anytime we decide to change a line card, any product, it comes to me, then it goes to Greg, then it goes to engineering, then it goes to sales and then the field before we even make a change.
so the whole
Because
team has a buy-in in that product before you even put it in a customer's house.
correct. So for example, where we're doing that, I can't mention the name, but we're doing that with one of the products now, and the company says, "Great, buy a demo package. It costs $5,000." And I said, "No, I'm not spending $5,000 for your demo that may be sit on the shelf. If you believe in Wild Media as a vendor, give it to us. We have a proven track record, and if it works, it's going to be great for everybody. And if it fails, then it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be."
So I got to ask, what gave you that mindset, that shift in your mindset from that first year where you weren't making very much? Maybe you lacked focus
So
there,
it
but
was
what was the
right
change?
here. Answer to Greg. It's not about the dollar amount. We're planting seeds. When you plant seeds this year, right? They they bloom when? Next spring, right?
Yeah.
So that first year in business was us just planting seeds. That's all we kept doing, planting seeds. Year 2, now we're planting more seeds, and then the other seeds are coming back and growing, right? And you're just gonna keep doing that and build a pipeline. And one of the things we realize is when a customer says no, it doesn't mean no forever. It just may not mean no now, right? Right now, this is not the right time, right? In sales, and I always tell our sales team and stuff, we don't sell, we recommend, we educate. We just happen to sell the stuff, right? I'm gonna educate you why you're gonna sell. You need this light, or you need this TV or audio, or these are the things that we're gonna look at. Oh, and by the way, we said we happen to sell it.
So when I got a question on that, when you talk about educating, and you're going through your line card and you're teaching, you're going through and your whole team is deciding on a product. How do you pass that vision or that experience down to each one of your employees to make sure that they, whether it's the new tech that just pulls wire or the programmer that's been working for you for 10 years, how do you make sure that each of them buy into that product or that experience or that technique?
Yeah, great question. So what we do is once we select a product. So for example, um, I'll mention the name. So we just picked up Bang& Olufsen this year in March or April of this year. And from year to date, we're now, one of the biggest deal or the biggest deal in the area. They're like, Luis, how do you do it? I'm like, we have to buy, and this is how we did it. Is we looked at the products, showed it to the team. The team said, okay, great, we like it. Then we about training, we get with the vendor. What other training can we get for the sales team to know about the product? Great. The vendor is very supportive, saying, hey, we're going to give you all the tools you need to be successful. And then once the team gets a hold of that, then we pick a brand ambassador within our company. So for example, we have an employee who's really really good at installing shades. He's our shade ambassador.
Yeah.
Then we have one guy who's really really good at networking. He's our networking. So we always you always find that one person in the company who has a passion about that one particular item, and you're gonna find that once you do, hop on his bandwagon or hers and say, we're gonna make you that brand ambassador of that product. You're gonna know more than myself and Greg, and you're gonna teach us, and that's how.
I love how much trust you have with your team. That takes a lot of trust for you to do that. I think it's so smart. We just talked about delegation. Here you are referencing it again, where you're trusting your team with something and giving them some part of the business. I love that. I think it's so important for them to have pride in their work and not just always be doing something someone told them to, but they get to lead in an area. That's so great. It really sounds like you're setting some clear
Yeah, we
goals
try to.
with your team for sure.
So speaking of that, Josh, that was a perfect segue.
That's awesome.
One of the big things I've noticed with integrators is having a clear, consistent set of goals for themselves, whether it be the owner, the salesperson, the technician. From when you started till now, how would you say your mindset for short-term and long-term goals have changed? And give an example of like where a goal you had when you started to a goal you have now that you're successful and you're winning in most of what you do.
Yeah, so that's a great question because as a business owner, have a lot of ideas. Greg has a lot of ideas, and some of his ideas I don't agree with, and some of my ideas he doesn't agree with. And as a business partner, and having ideas, he'll call me up. He's like, "Luis, we're gonna sell lollipops today. Lollipops."
Like
Okay,
what?
Greg, why are we gonna sell? Yeah, why are we gonna sell lollipops? Before I shoot him down, I want to hear why, right? And one of the things he and I agreed upon is his idea, even though I may not be on be on board, but I'm going to support him. I mean, I'm going to give him 110% of me to make that idea grow. And if it fails, I never will bring it back up and say, "Hey, your idea sucked," because he does that to me too. If I have a bad idea, he's on board with me. Because the thing is both of us have the same idea of making sure the company succeeds, right?
Yeah.
So setting goals was probably one of the hardest things for where short term and long term is how do we grow fast or how do we grow appropriately. You see a lot of integrators, they always talk about that $1 million job, the $20 million job, or hey, I just sold 50,000 TVs to this one customer. I said I don't want to do that. Let's focus on jobs between three and 5,000. Let's focus on those. I'm gonna hit a lot of first base. 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 3 to 5. Imagine if you do $3,000 to $5,000 at 45 to 60 points of margin, and I do 5 of those a week. For a sales guy, what does those numbers look like really fast? Then
Yeah.
you have that one deal that's $100,000 that takes forever, and that's they're always talking about budget. They're always, oh my gosh, da, 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 and then there's always an issue. But if I could do a $5,000 job and be 60 points of margin 5 times a day, I think that's a better position than the hundred
Yeah.
thousand dollar job any day long, right?
So
And
you took.
Yeah, that's interesting strategy. I think a lot of people, a lot of dealers have wrestled with that. What do I do? What do I go after? What's my focus
It
there? And
fits
I
that
think that's a really cool
model of you
approach.
hear people talk about rocks, pebbles, and boulders. So like you can have those boulder jobs, those 200 to $1,000 $1 million jobs, but those jobs have a long life cycle, and then you have to have those pebbles, the 50 to $100,000 job, and then you have to have those really tiny little grains of sand or whatever you want to call them that are 5,000 to 10,000 that keep your techs busy, that fill in all that space while you're waiting for roughen to trim out.
yeah, and one of the things to answer your question to hop on that is our goal. About 8 years ago, we decided to be the biggest and the most experienced lighting integrator in the country. And we always talk big. We don't talk small. We talk how can I be the best?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's done very well for us. 8 years ago, people were looking at us. Oh my God, you're selling lights, really? You're selling now? What is everybody doing?
Oh, you're
So
selling lights. Yeah.
lights and shades, right? So
Lights and
everyone's like talking
shades,
about
man.
lights. Oh my
Lights and
gosh, oh my gosh.
shades.
So what we would do, it was 11 o'clock at night. We opened up our first door. I got home. I called my business partner and I said, "We're gonna start selling lights." He goes, "What?" I'm like, "We're gonna start selling lights." Literally a week later, we had a company come to us who was a low voltage lighting manufacturer. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it just happened. They want to sell us lights and we want to sell lights."
Hmm.
So we married. So we became, with us and a good friend of ours, Josh from Texas, became the largest integrators in the country for low voltage lighting. Experience, not in dollars, but in experience. We've done, I can say, hundreds of projects, and we now partner up with a lot of different companies and help perfect that. So now architects and builders and designers aren't reaching out to us for audio video. They're actually reaching out to us for lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's a great
now
position to be
it's
in.
when we get the lights, I'm gonna get the audio, I'm gonna get the video, I'm gonna get the networking, so on and so forth. So I think a lot of integrators, in my opinion, is that they look at their business a different way, where they're more of a need than a want. And lighting and shades, I would see it's a want still, right? You could buy Home Depot shades,
Yeah.
they still go up and down. I mean, not it all depends, right? But everybody needs lights, everybody. And how do you do that? Is try to be the best at that one category in your area. Sure.
No, I completely agree. I'm sure Josh does too. We've both been in that situation where, you lead off with lighting. You get those interior designers or those architects that, really care about what's happening in their designs, and the rest of it will follow because you have to be able to control the lighting. So then you've got the control system. Well, then now you've got the control system has to match the audio or the televisions or,
Mhm.
and it all just kind of filters its way through. And a lot of people don't think about that. They want to start off with, the really rockin' sound system and then make lighting the add-on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like even still today, 8 years later, there's still a big wall with integrators trying to sell lighting, and it's either because they're not educated enough or they're scared. You know, Greg and I, we jumped in 2 feet, and our first job was a kitchen, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh my God, it looks amazing! Can you do my house?" And we just finished a 40,000 square foot home, from a
Nice.
kitchen to a 40,000 square foot home. And now it's so easy. It's just like, you know what? No one's ever going to call me for an Apple TV, right?
Yeah.
On a light.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. So, kind of just shift gears here a little bit. You obviously have a way you do things differently. You and your partner really like to set yourselves apart. What would you say if you were talking to yourself back in 2012, a vision for your company now and a way for integrators who are just starting off or maybe struggling a little bit, how they can set a vision for themselves and their company, and if you could give them one piece of advice, what that would be?
I would say one piece of advice if you're starting out as an integrator is don't take on more than you can chew. Focus on small things. If you just want to sell a soundbar and a TV and mount it, be the best at just that. If you don't want to, if you've never done shades, don't sell it. Because what happens in our industry, you get a lot of integrators. Oh my gosh, I got to fix what this one guy did because he's never done it before, and he happened to land a big job. And then what happens? It hurts the brand, the product. It hurts the industry, and it also hurts the market because that next door neighbor could have been my client. But because now he failed, we all lost, not just you. So in our area, we welcome our competition. I want my competition to be as good or better than I am because we're all in this together, and there's so much work for everybody else. And imagine if you have a nice network in your market where you're like, hey, I don't do Savant, but my buddy over here does,
Yeah.
right? And then he calls me up, hey, I don't do Lutron, I do.
Yeah,
That's a great outlook. Absolutely. I don't think there's enough of that playing nice in the playground, but I love that focus that you have, and it's one of those things when you're sure who you are, it makes you able to be nice with others. I think, and to play well as. Like you said, if I'm not a savant guy, I want to hook him up with who is, and I'm hoping to, reciprocation
Yeah,
here
and,
to
and one
receive
of
something
the other
back from
things I
them
would
as well.
say is have a great relationship with your rep company. Like Phoenix, we have a great relationship with you guys, and there are many times if I want to sell a product, I'll reach out to our guy here. Hey, what do you guys offer? Oh, we offer this is my line card lease. Perfect. Why is that important? Because if I support the vendors that my rep is representing, what does that support look like when shit hits the fan? I'm sorry, I swear, but
Oh,
what does that support look like if it's gonna hit the fan? It's not about the issue; it's about how it's resolved. So if I'm able to call my guy up at 7 o'clock at night, hey, this part's not working, he's gonna hang up the phone and call and say, hey, look, he supports us, we gotta support him. Don't be that integrator. Yeah, don't be the integrator
A hundred
that
percent.
has 30 different reps selling 30 different speakers, right? And everybody's fighting for a piece of the pie.
yeah.
And for like I said, going back to
Yeah.
this, stick with one brand. Stick with one brand and know it inside out better than anybody else. And if you are going to jump ship, give a reason why.
No, that you couldn't hit it more on the head of the nail there. We've both been in that situation, Josh and I, and we it's when stuff does hit the fan, the more loyal you are to a brand, the easier it is to, as they say, I'm sure you tell your team to don't judge us by our best day, judge us by our worst day. If we do that as integrators, if we do that anywhere throughout this, the manufacturer, the rep, the integrator, if you can be judged on your worst day versus your best day, you'll always be more successful.
Yep, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And you know, you guys have been great with us, and our line card is strong. I really believe that it's for 2025 for us. We, I didn't think we were going to beat 2023 and 2024, and we beat 2024. And now we're in 2025. I'm like, how the hell am I going to beat 2025? Right? So what I did, I'll be honest, what I did was reached out to my rep group and I said, I need you to show me what else you sell. I'm running out. Help me make our company a little more different in 2025 so we can offer a different solution that's not being offered in the current marketplace that our clients would love to hear about.
That experience.
That's so huge, man. I really feel like you've got such a different outlook on that because most people think as a rep is something they have to put up with. And I was an integrator, so there were reps that I had to put up with. But the way you're thinking it through is building your team bigger that you don't have to pay for, right? Like using design services or using your rep firm to get things done for you or expand your line. You're looking at adding more employees to your company that aren't on the payroll. That's just
I
genius.
look at my
It's a
reps
really
as
good way to
free
look at
labor.
things.
I look at my reps
So
all the time.
it's funny you talk about that. So a little later on, you won't be here for that part, but we're going to do what's called the Pips Tips, and that's one of the topics we're going to talk about is leaning on your vendors for free labor, a way to delegate some of that labor. And as an owner, as a salesperson, as a technician, we're all too busy, and I think it really will hit home with a lot of integrators on being able to lean on somebody that can help you.
Exactly.
So, Luis, if people want to
Yeah,
learn
go to our
more about
website,
your company, where can they go?
WowMeHT.com. Our marketing has been amazing. Our videos
I
have
would
been
agree.
great this year. You got to take a look. We're doing something really cool, a lot of different things. We have a lot of things in the pipeline for 2025. For example, we're doing a couple of yachts in the Caribbean. We're doing projects in Miami, Nantucket, the islands, all different various. But what makes it happen is because I partner with other integrators within the country. It's not just Wow Media. And take a look at what we do and feel free to reach out and we'll give you some tricks we do.
Well, Luis, thank you so much for being part of our podcast, especially episode 1. From everybody here at the Phoenix Nest and Phoenix Marketing. 1, thank you for your business. And 2, just thanks for giving some of that insight to those people who might be struggling, finding a way to, find their way in the integration world. We really appreciate it, and we'd love to have you back on sometime.
Yeah,
And again, if you need anything, feel free to reach out to any of us. I hope this friendship continues from here. And thanks.
Yeah,
okay, thanks guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
absolutely, Luis. Thank you so much.
Each month here at Phoenix Nest, we're going to be offering you what we're going to call Pips Tips, actionable strategies to help you win and take a little off of your plate throughout the month. This month, some of our tips are going to be things such as delegating, leaning on PMs, and leaning on vendors. So Josh, to start off, we've talked about this before. delegating seems to be the one thing that's most integrators, especially owners, have trouble doing because they started off as a technician, they're moving forward, and they still feel the need to, do everything. What are some
Yeah.
ideas you have as far as delegating that our listeners can take and delegate?
Well, I think first you've got to build a team that you can trust to delegate to, and then you've just got to start doing it. It's uncomfortable to delegate, but if you never give up anything that's on your plate, your company's likely never going to grow well.
Yeah, that's a good point. So one thing I've realized, I've managed companies before. When it comes to delegating, thinking of those things that you do weekly that don't need your decision making, staff or yourself,
Right.
such as inventory, doing what I was going to bring up, leaning on your PMs for production scheduling. Your PMs are the ones that are in the field every single week. They know those schedules. They work with the builders. So leaning on your PMs to do a production schedule. And maybe you don't hand it all off to them at the beginning, but say, hey, let's have a discussion about what you think our schedule should be, so you can start learning whether or not they have the scheduling ability to really help them be more successful and help you take that off of your plate.
Absolutely. I think you even brought up last week, we were talking about this. You brought up even just the simple task of cleaning vans. Talk about that.
Yeah, so cleaning vans, like one, our techs are out there, they're unboxing stuff all day long. They're going through, putting in an equipment, whether it be balance or televisions, and sometimes they have that part that they didn't need and they put it back on their van. And then the next job comes up and you're buying another one of those. When, Joe, your technician, has 3 of them on his van. One, that'll help you save money because you may think that they need it every job, but they're not actually using it. So make sure the techs are cleaning out their vans, doing a monthly inventory of what they have, and then passing that along to you so you know.
Yeah, it sounds like communication is certainly key when it comes to delegating responsibilities to your.
Speaking of communication, the other thing you can delegate, and it's kind of a reverse delegation, I think, is leaning on your vendors. With today's industry, so many vendors are offering design services, from lighting design, outdoor lighting design, audio. Leaning on those vendors, who here in our industry isn't going to like free labor? Most of our vendors are offering design services for free, or if they do charge, they end up taking that cost off of the product that you do buy. So think about having a free designer every month that you can use for a project when you're starting off or you're growing.
Yeah, I worked for a firm for 13 years, and one of the things I always saw was the design engineers were always way too busy, so busy. They had to figure out how they could shrink the time in their week,
Yeah.
and I always felt bad for them. This is such a great way that they could have some of that stuff lifted off their shoulders and know from the manufacturer that they're getting exactly what they need to be able to get that project done. So yeah, I find this as low-hanging fruit for all of the custom integrators to be able to use their vendors to be of help to them. Like you said, it's free labor.
Yeah. I really think between delegating tasks that you don't need yourself to be part of or your management team, leaning on your PMs to do your production, doing inventory of your vans monthly, and leaning on vendors for design work, those 4 things right there, or 5 things, are really going to help each integrator find ways to be more profitable and successful.
Well, as most of you know, Phoenix Marketing Group is the first ever national rep firm. And I know a lot of people have interesting questions, and we're making a lot of noise out there in the nation. And with us today, we have Chris Gilray, who is our CEO and president of Phoenix Marketing Group. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Joshua. Greatly appreciate being on our first podcast. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's been really great so far. So we've just got a couple of questions for you. First of all, it's so interesting to see all these moving parts in the custom integration world. And one of the things we're seeing this year with you and your team was taking this successful representation on the East Coast and then expanding it nationwide. Can you tell us a little bit about how all that came about and the why behind it?
Absolutely. I would love to share. So I started Phoenix Marketing Group in May of 2018. And at the time, I had a distribution arm. And my passion has always been to be in front of dealers and, spread the good word of what we do as reps to help them with their business. And so the Southeast, there was never in my mindset that I would ever take this nationally. Honestly, The Southeast, I had a great team. We had some great manufacturers that were supporting us. But however, with that said, I had some distribution outlets in Florida. And because of the success we were having, I'm thinking, you know what? We could go down to Florida here and expand on our rep firm and provide the support and service that we do for our Florida dealers. So we did. And after 1 year, Phoenix Marketing Group, we opened up in Florida, and we had incredible success with all the manufacturers that decided to partner with us down in that state. Well, then, after much success, it came from a couple manufacturers asking if we would expand into the Middle Atlantic region.
Wow.
I personally don't know any of the dealers or integrators in the Middle Atlantic region. So for me, the initial response was, I think I'm good. Well, the manufacturers weren't good with that. They were like, well, we really want you to. Would you consider it? And for me, it's always about surrounding myself with people that are as good or better than me, right? And then empowering them to be successful, spread their wings, no pun intended, with Phoenix, and then get behind them and support them with a cast of people that can help them be as great as they want to be with what they do. So I happen to have one gentleman on our team who is now our general manager for the Mid-Atlantic region. He reached out to me while he was with the manufacturer and said, were you going to let me know you were expanding after I made the announcement? I'm like, well, yeah, I plan on letting you know. That was kind of a soft launch on what we're doing. He goes, I'd like to come work for Phoenix. So it kind of fit into my dream that if I'm to bring people on board that have a network of friends and then provide them with manufacturer partners that have a story to tell and that they can get out there with their friends and share all these beautiful manufacturers' products that they can put in their toolbox, why not? So when I went into the Mid-Atlantic region, guys, in a territory that I did not know, would you believe that in half the time it took us to reach our goals in Florida, we did it in the Mid-Atlantic region?
Wow.
And it was crazy. So at that point, I started to feel a little more confident. I was still good at that point. Great. Well, we have 3 regions. Well, manufacturers came back. Would you consider New York Metro, New Jersey? Yeah, I don't know about that. And I was at that point, I'm like, I think I'm good. Well, we really want to get behind you and help you and support you get there. Can you please try it? Well, again, for me, team, it's about finding the right people. And I was blessed to find a gentleman by the name of Eric Ahrens, who is our general manager today.
Great guy.
Guy knows everybody. Everybody loves
Yes.
Eric. He has a network and he's incredible with just passion,
Yeah.
right? He's smart. He's hungry, right? He's humble. And he's absolutely the right person and individual to be a Phoenix with how we go to market and a lot of things we do. So there you go. We put Eric in place, and he did it just as fast as the Mid-Atlantic region and taken a territory that we did not know anyone and go in there and have a lot of success, and the dealers responding very well. So now, from that point forward, here came New England, the Northeast, and I said, yes, I'm interested. It wasn't, I don't know about this. I think we got it to a point to where our culture has helped us evolve around the country, and it's really, to me, Phoenix does a lot of things behind the scenes with how we go to business, how we market, but it's about having the right people in place. And all these people are my family, right? They are just wonderful individuals that get it. They're business people. They have a crazy network of people that love them and want to do business with them, and then empowering them and not micromanaging them and let them do what they need to do to be successful with a supporting cast that we have on the inside like no other. So that kind of rounded out the East Coast. And at this point, team, I said, you know what? We're 20 states in. I think I'm going to go to the manufacturers this time and not let them come to me because I think I know what's coming. And at this point, the model we had in place is working beautifully. So I approached several manufacturers with the concept of going national. And they all responded beautifully with, yes, please. This is great. We would love to support it. Then the real work kicked in because I had to find people like you two, all right? And, fortunately, with what Phoenix is doing, a lot of this was getting out there to where you had probably heard about what we're up to, right, and what we were doing. And it made it easier because the talent pool that's been coming at us from all angles it's just been incredible. And, now I'm blessed with not only the amazing team I had on the East Coast, but I got a whole lot of people on this team that have vision, that have passion, that fit what Phoenix is all about. And it takes a certain type of individual to be a Phoenix, right? And you two right here get it, as well as everybody on this team that we have brought on. Currently, there's 33 of us, right? There'll be another handful added here in the next few weeks. And we'll see where we go. But we are officially launched into 45 of the 50 states.
That's awesome.
And we'll be launching into another territory here very shortly to complete the cycle.
So exciting.
Let's take one step back and really hit something that's just phenomenal. So from your East Coast time till now, how many people did you hire in less than a year? I really want people to understand the enormity of the stress you put yourself under for this.
So if we look back at that, we have brought on, I think, 19 or 20 individuals within a 4-month period. But you know what? When you look at it, Pippin, it's when you have the right person that has the same passion that I have, the same vision that they want to be a part of something unique and special. It's easier. It's easier, right? When I talk to each and every one of you that have joined Phoenix Marketing Group, I look for certain criteria, and everybody has met that criteria. So I have the most incredible cast of team members that have joined Phoenix Marketing Group that allows me to smile every day. When I get out of bed, I literally sit there at the end of my bed and I go, what's going to happen today? Like, I'm super excited. Just who's going to call me with an opportunity, or who's going to call me from my team with something special, unique that they've done. It's every day the excitement from not only us as a team, but our integrators and our manufacturers. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun, and we're all so blessed and looking forward to working together and really going after this vision that you have. And we're not going to talk secret sauce here, so we can keep doing what we're doing. But thank you so much for being on the show, Chris. And we're really excited to again follow the vision that you have in front of us.
Well, thank you both, and go Phoenix.
Well, hey guys, every month and every episode that we have, we're going to be doing a book review of something that we've read that we think you should read. And this month, I started with High Trust Selling. It's by Todd Duncan. It's got a foreword by John C. Maxwell. John is one of my favorite authors and leaders, and he's pretty awesome. But this book from Todd Duncan is just so powerful. When I first started selling in the custom integration industry, I literally, my first proposal went to my client with a shaking hand, and you could like hear the paper fluttering in the air. It was so embarrassing. And she even said, "Honey, are you nervous?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm really nervous." I was selling out of my own wallet at that time, and so I had a lot of things to overcome. I was a tech for 7 years. And so I didn't know anything about selling. And so getting into selling, I needed to download some books and understand them. And so as you can see, this one I've got marked up everywhere because it's so important to me. But one of the chapters in here talks about the relationship in high trust selling, and it's called The Law of Courtship. And it says relationships have two parts: essence and form. If the essence is wrong, you'll spend 90% of your time on form. And it also says that the seed of relationship troubles is planted when you pursue revenue before building a relationship, or in other words, trying to pursue marriage before even dating. And it just leads to a shallow, fruitless relationship. And so there's all these different, I love in this book, it really gives you all these different comparisons in here as well. And so when it comes to this, they also have the law of the shareholder, and that's just kind of like being more upfront about your business. It talks about how you separate yourself from being a salesperson to a CEO. And a salesperson pays only for what can be reimbursed. A CEO invests money to make money. A salesperson calls on anybody. A CEO calls on the right body. And it also says a salesperson reacts to interruptions. A CEO makes sure interruptions don't happen. But this book is just so full of information and wealth for your sales teams and yourself, just to become a better leader, to help you get focused, to help you understand how to go after those high trust sales. And I'll tell you a story. We were bidding on this really gigantic project in Colorado, and the owner set themselves up, and their right hand person that was kind of choreographing everything for them. Basically, he set up a meeting with all the top firms. And when they came to our building, and this was built into our culture, so it has a lot to do with Sean Hansen, that logic integration, and the culture that he built there. But when they came in, their daughter actually came in with them, but they didn't want her in the meeting. And so we had already known she was going to come, so we set up like special treats and popcorn for her in our big movie theater room. So it was this huge, movie theater room with the best sound quality she's ever experienced, and she's got all her candies. And so I knelt down in front of her and her mom right when they came in, called her by name, and said, "Hey, we've got something set up for you, and if it's okay with you and your mom and you want to, you can pick any movie you want to in the theater room that we have." And it just lit her up. When we ended up winning the project, they said, because you guys were personal, even to the fact that you introduced yourself to our daughter first, you made our lives important to you, and a situation that we were in that she was going to be bored for the next 2 hours while we met about this home. Yeah. And so it just was something I learned from this book, High Trust Selling, to really separate yourself from the competition and also engage in that relationship before you engage in asking for anything. So really good stuff.
A quick interjection there, Josh. One thing I've noticed, like with my previous integration firm, we had one of my colleagues was doing kind of the same thing. Family brought their kid in, and they noticed that the kid was playing his Nintendo Switch, and we ended up signing a fairly large project with them. And that my colleague ended up sending the son a gift card for Nintendo Switch online. And not saying you need to buy those relationships, but like you were saying, every relationship that you make in this industry could potentially be somebody that's your best friend. One of my biggest clients texts me still weekly just to see how life's going on. And I know that if I was still an integrator, I would always have her business going forward. So if you focus, like you said, that trust, but that trust comes with that relationship. And if you don't have both of them, you're not going to win in this market. Everything now is relationship based. So I think you hit it on the head with that book, and I think our integrators are going to find ways to win and succeed with every little step.
Yeah, I didn't check, but I'm sure the book sold enough copies. I'm sure that it's on Audible or other ways too, because I download half my books and I read half my books. So since we have a lot of windshield time as reps, it's a good time to listen to some audio and grow as well. So
I'll find an Amazon link for it and include it in the. We're not paid for anything, so I want to make sure you know that. But I'll put the Amazon link for the book that he mentioned. And Josh, thank you again for sharing that. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to like and subscribe, and also leave comments, because we want to know what you want to see in this. So if you have a book you want to recommend, please let us know. We'll pay attention to the comments and respond.
Yeah, we'd love that. Absolutely.
Hey, we're going to wrap it up for now. We look forward to seeing you next month. Make sure to press that like button and subscribe. We could use your support as we want to support you. First of all, thanks from Josh and from me. And Chris, thank you for joining us today. We look forward to really passing out some insights over the next podcast episodes. And as we're going to say from now on, now you know, and knowing's half the battle.